Hey there, Latasha here. I started my freelance social media management business sometime around 2014. It all stemmed from a job post. It actually ended up being on Upwork. It was a blog writing gig, and over time it turned into a freelance social media copywriting position. A couple years go by, a couple of day jobs get acquired, and that little hustle is a full-fledged side hustle. So I left. I took the leap and started my own business. Since leaving my day job, I've been able to double revenue in that business year over year consistently, and I get to do a lot of really cool things now, like speaking and educating and focusing more on some of the fun things like creative video and strategy. So I wanted to start this series for those of you who are looking to get started as a social media manager and have big dreams for your online business. Over this next week, I'll be uploading a new video both on Wednesday and on Friday, and I'll be adding to this series over time as well. So be sure to turn the notifications on to tune in to this free course content. Today, we're going to answer the question, what a social media manager actually even does. So I've got to be honest, this job title has changed and evolved so much over the years. The social media management role can vary from company to company, so my best advice is to write down a list of dream clients or dream jobs that you're looking to get and stalk them a little bit on LinkedIn. Look at their job postings and see what they define as a social media manager and what some of the tools, technologies, and skills you may need to have for those dream roles. But for this video, I want to give an overview of the work that I've done in my career, and that really starts with strategy. A social media manager needs to be able to help develop a social media strategy for a business. And this is true whether you're working as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, or as an in-house social media manager. Yes, you're responsible for publishing the content across different social platforms, but in order to do that, you need to know which platforms you need to be on in the first place. For example, a tech company may be a little bit more focused on a platform like LinkedIn and Twitter, as opposed to a cosmetics company, which may do a little bit better connecting with their audience on a platform like Instagram or even TikTok. That's one of the questions that a social media strategy should answer is, which platforms should we be on? But you also need to know who you're talking to, which is incredibly important. This is something that you can ask your client for or your job for. Do they have an ideal customer avatar or a buyer persona drawn up? Meaning, do they know the ideal person that they're looking to reach with their products or services? If not, I'll leave a couple of resources for you down below on buyer persona and customer avatars. A social media strategy should also tell you the types of content that you're gonna post. You should have some type of a map. If we say that we're gonna post on LinkedIn, well, there are a ton of different content types that I could publish on there. I could write LinkedIn articles. I could post photos. I could post live videos or regular videos. I could post text posts. I could engage with people via DMs. There are so many options just on one platform. So mapping out the types of content that you will engage in and which topics will be included in that content. I like to use what I call content pillars. In general, a brand shouldn't have any more than 2 to 3 key content pillars. And I'll give you an example of this. Let's say that I'm working with a taco stand. They want to be known for their premium organic ingredients. They're not like your average taco stand. They offer vegan options and farm-to-table vegetables and things like that. So for that taco company, I'm probably going to establish one of their pillars or main themes that they use as organic food. I might talk about why organic food is arguably better for you and why their customers should care that their food is organic. Now, I might also focus on the physical location. Let's say that they are in Dallas, Texas. So I'm going to share happenings around Dallas. I'm going to support other local business owners in Dallas and engage with local influencers in the community. And lastly, maybe the owner has a passion project, if you will, and they have a charity element to their business. They give a few cents off of every taco that's sold to an environmental awareness fund. So I'm also going to talk about the mission of the company and saving the environment and how eating clean and organic and vegan can help minimize our impact. So that's just one example. And it's not to say that we couldn't ever post about anything else. We might occasionally post employee snapshots and share our employees and our team working and a little bit about them, but it's not going to be one of those main pillars, the main message that we want to get across on our social profiles. Now, your social media strategy should also include some goals and some KPIs. KPIs stands for Key Performance Indicators, and it refers to metrics or analytics that you'll pull every month usually, and they will help indicate the success of your social profiles. So for that taco company, if their main goal was awareness, meaning they just wanted people to know more about their business, about their mission, about their values, then I would choose an awareness-focused metric to center that around. Maybe that would be reach, meaning total number of accounts that I was able to reach through Instagram or whichever platforms we choose to be on. Or maybe it's total number of followers, which does give us some indication of how well our messaging is resonating with those new audience members. Now, after you develop that strategy, it's also important to be able to help optimize existing social media platforms and websites or set them up if they don't have anything. For brand new businesses, you're gonna be on the setup side. You're gonna need to know how to set up a brand new page, give proper access to the owner or whoever your key point of contact is. You probably don't ever want to be the only person in charge of a social profile, just in case something happens to yours or to you personally and someone else needs to get in. If you are optimizing existing profiles, you should be able to know how to do a quick audit, meaning that you're checking out their profile picture, their banner images, their bios and about section, any of that key profile information, and comparing it against their website or their brand kit if they've been able to provide you with one. And you want to make sure that everything is on brand, it's sized appropriately, you don't have any cover or banner photos that are stretched oddly. You want to be sure, again, for this taco stand or any type of brick and mortar, that if they have a Facebook page, you have the hours of operation listed on that page. You have the contact and online ordering information set up. If you're working with an e-commerce company, you'll want to make sure that you have Instagram shopping set up or any type of tracking pixels that you may need, like the Facebook pixel or the LinkedIn Insight tag, for example. And at minimum, I would recommend asking your client or your job if they have Google Analytics set up and if they can add you to their account. Now, I know all of these pixels and analytics might sound like I'm speaking a completely different language. I certainly did not know what these things were when I first got started, but basically what they do is enable you to track activity that happens beyond social media, that actually happens on the client's websites. And this can be really important for reporting purposes and advertising purposes. So it's better to just have them on there, even if you don't quite know how to use them yet, or you're not always pulling that data. It's better to be safe than sorry and get it on there if you can. Now, the next thing, and probably the most well-known thing that social media managers do, is actually publish content and create content calendars for their clients or for their companies. They go through and map out what content will be posted on which days, and they will schedule it out or post it manually. Now, I get this question all the time: what is my favorite scheduling tool? And to be honest, they are very, very personal. I personally really like a tool called CoSchedule, and I also just use Facebook's native scheduler to schedule Facebook and Instagram posts. And I also do a lot of organic manual posting just because it is a good reminder for me to engage with the content and check inboxes while I'm in there. So it really is a personal thing. Most social media management systems give you at least a 15 or 30-day free trial. So I'd recommend trying out a few and seeing which one you like best. But hold on, let's back up. What content are we even posting? For the sake of this video, I will be talking about 3 key content types: original content, repurposed content, and curated content. Original content is exactly what it sounds like. These are going to be images, videos, photos, designs that either you create or somebody on the team, your client's team, your job's team, actually creates. If you're working with a larger company, a lot of times they'll have creative departments, either photographers, videographers, designers, who can provide you that content. But I would be lying if I said that there weren't times when I was actually creating this stuff myself. Particularly if you're working with smaller companies, mom and pop shops, solopreneurs, anybody who might be on a bit of a tight budget or just have a very small bootstrap team. So in my opinion, it is important to have a bit of those skills, just basic photo editing, video clipping and cutting, designing in a tool like Canva, and really customizing. You can also choose as a social media manager that you're not very talented in the design and creative department, and therefore you'll only work with clients who have original content for you to pull from. That's totally okay. Repurposed content is content that I might find on the client's website. So maybe they have a podcast, or they have a YouTube channel, or they have webinars, or they have blog posts. All of those things are things that I can pull and create new content with. I can trim down a webinar, pull a bunch of 1-minute snippets for Instagram, or I can caption some of the videos and post them on LinkedIn. I can take some of their blog posts and turn them into captions for image content or video content. So these are all things that I recommend scrubbing through and just kind of creating a document where you can pull potential content ideas that you may want to use on social media, and then kind of going ahead and repurposing some of that. Some of my favorite tools for repurposing are a tool called Headliner, which enables you to create little waveforms and audio snippets. I also love Canva. It's really easy to take a screenshot and really jazz it up with text. And you can also edit videos on Canva, so I definitely recommend learning how to use that tool. Now, like I said, you don't have to create the content. You don't have to work with clients who require you to be an original content creator if that's not your sweet spot. But I still do think it's important for a social media manager to have some type of insight and directive over what types of content are being produced. A CEO may not know how to create an Instagram reel. So it's your job as a social media manager to provide them training, or to provide them documentation, or to just help them out to learn the best practices of creating these new content types that might be a little bit foreign to them. For some of my clients that are very far away, where I can't go on site to take images or videos for them, I'll just create a shot list or a wish list. I'll say, hey, I would love it if you took a picture of the taco stand. I'd love it if you took a picture of the CEO. Can you also take a picture of Dallas, the skyline, and things like that, and get those images over to me so that I have something to work with for the next month's content calendar. One of the last pieces here is engagement. There are certain amounts of just ongoing work that you have to continue to do. Unfortunately, this is not the kind of job where you just schedule things out and leave it be. You really do have to engage. And what does that mean? Well, there's two types of engagement. There's inbound and there's outbound. Inbound engagement would refer to any comments or direct messages that come through that you didn't really try for. They just sort of happened upon you through either the hashtags that you're using, the location tags that you're using. Maybe you were tagged in something by somebody else. Maybe they just found you from somewhere else on the web. They searched you up on Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok, and you're getting these comments and engagements. Well, it's really important to respond to them. So making sure that you're going in every single day if you can and responding to things, hearting comments, stimulating conversation as best as you can. Engagement really helps with the algorithm, which the algorithm is just a fancy way of saying it's the system that dictates how often and which pieces of content are being shown to your followers and to the greater social media community. In short, you want to be active, you want to be consistent. These are all things that make the algorithm really like you and make it a lot more likely for your content to show up for the people who need to see it. So inbound engagement, responding to that stuff is really important. But there's also outbound engagement. And this is going to tie back to that ideal client, that buyer persona, that customer avatar. Again, I'm going to go ahead and use this taco example. Let's say that this taco example, they really want to reach health-conscious vegans in Dallas. A lot of people just think of them as your average taco shop, and they don't really know that this taco company has vegan sustainable, organic options. So what I would do is I would look at hashtags like Dallas vegans or eat organic or Dallas healthy food or something like that, and go after these different hashtags, look through the hashtags and start leaving meaningful comments, start following influencers or thought leaders in that space. I may also look through location tags of similar restaurants. Maybe there is a healthy vegan restaurant that is in the area, so I'll click on their location tag and start doing something similar. I'll start liking and commenting on people who have checked in there. And that strategy is the same across social platforms, by the way. I know I'm using an Instagram example here, but you could totally do something similar on LinkedIn. Maybe you don't have location tags on LinkedIn, but you do have hashtags on LinkedIn. You also can look up companies. So if I wanted to reach employees of a particular restaurant or a particular industry, then I could search for them using LinkedIn search and connect with them, send them a message and say, hey, you're a restaurant down the street. We should totally create a collaboration, a collaborative taco, if you will, and so on. And you should also be reviewing your success. This is really how you continue to see success happen, is you look at your analytics. Pretty much all of the social platforms have some type of in-app analytics that you can look through. Look through your top performing posts and start to look for trends. Maybe all of your top performing posts were of the food themselves, meaning you need to take more food photography, or maybe even encourage your client to hire a professional food photographer. Or maybe they were all reels, so you need to go all in and create a bunch of reels. Maybe you get the most website clicks when you post a quote or some type of text-based post about being vegan and organic and things like that. So look for trends so that it can help you inform your future content calendar and continue to improve from there. It's always a great idea to include your client or your manager on these reports as well. Putting together reports enables you to really show your client what you've been doing and what kind of success you're seeing. I always say social media is one of those things that can be very out of sight, out of mind. And for people who are not trained in this and have not spent the time that you're spending on courses and learning, it's not something that is necessarily easy to understand, and I can't blame them. I don't know anything about making organic vegan tacos, really. So you are the expert. You should be providing that information to them in a monthly report. And of course, if you're a freelancer, you run your own business, you're gonna need to do other admin things like generating leads, providing customer service, meeting with your clients, invoicing, maybe hiring help. And if you work in-house, there are probably some other duties that may get sprinkled in there as well. But overall, those are some of the key social media management responsibilities and what we actually do all day. Believe it or not, it's not just play on Instagram or talk to people on Facebook. I'll go ahead and drop a free social media strategy template down in the description box if you want to snag that. And don't forget to tune in for episode 2 of this series on Wednesday. You can subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss it. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them down below and I will see you next time. Bye.